I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
I don't want to abolish government. I simply want to reduce it to the size where I could drag it into the bathroom and drown in the bathtub.
You bet I cut the taxes at the top.
How dare you? How dare you? Go ahead. Make my day.
The Rick Smith Show starts now.
And welcome, brothers, sisters, working class heroes. This is the Rick Smith Show. Thanks so much for being here today on the big program. Lots to get to, lots to talk about. What an interesting day today was in Trumplandia. I don't know if you saw the video running around of him answering the question about what message he's going to take to the UK on Brexit. Pure Trumpian gold. I was hoping that somebody would have written it down so that I could read it verbatim and and have the people with the white coats come take me away. No, I tried to follow the logic. I did. I tried to, I was going, okay, I'm going to give Trump the benefit of the doubt that maybe he did read something about Brexit. Maybe something, there was something someone scribbled on a cocktail napkin. Maybe there was something back on the backside of the tea card, something. And the pearl of wisdom that he came out with, Brexit is Brexit. That's it. That's, and then into some bizarre ramblings about he's got properties in Scotland, his mother's from Scotland. I didn't quite follow that line of thought, but it made me just kind of go, whoa, what exactly? And here's the thing that really bothers me. The thing that really bothers me is that I know that Trump's approval ratings are going to go up because, there are going to be some who look at him saying that he's a very stable genius. Again, back to the stable genius thing. And I'm not sure if he's trying to convince us or himself that he's stable or a genius. And I question seriously both the stable and the genius. But, I was looking at some of the approval ratings and, during the Obama years, U.S. approval around the world was through the roof. Now the last poll I saw, from The Guardian, 30%. We're down into the 30%. Eventually, maybe he gets us farther down. Maybe a couple more days of dancing around and not answering questions. Maybe we hit, the single digits, and there's something to shoot for. Something to shoot for. And it's one of those moments where you just go, what exactly is he, what's the plan? Or is there a plan? Because I'm really, really not seeing it. And, as I was reading through some of the stories and some of the comments from people, and I know you shouldn't read the comments, but I'm kind of interesting what people around the globe think of this president and of the comments that, the best he can come up with on Brexit is Brexit. And then the guy asks a simple question. Do you believe there should be a hard Brexit? Or, it should be a break. And understand the difference between a hard and a soft Brexit. A hard Brexit is bang, tomorrow, done. We're cutting off, we're getting away. No more, this, that, or the other thing. It's over, as opposed to a more, hey, we're going to ease out of this, and we're not going to cause too much chaos, and we're not going to, cause too much, disruption through the European Union. He didn't get that. He's like, it's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. What'd you say? Heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. The fact that this guy's president. I mean, that's, I don't know how you can look at that press conference today or any of the interactions that he's had with world leaders and say that this is the guy that we want representing us. I wouldn't want him representing me in any way, shape, or form. And this is the really twisted part of this, because, I want our president to look somewhat presidential. I would like them to look in the right direction. Just kind of saying, but I see this and I'm struggling. And while here's the real problem. While we're looking at the buffoonery and the dumpster fire that is this administration, they are doing really, really ugly damage to the future of this country. And while he's a buffoon and he's, not very bright, a stable genius, they're really doing serious damage. And it's going to take a generation at least to clean up what has happened. Maybe even two. I mean, you look at how they've packed the courts. And this isn't Trump's doing. This is a well-organized, well-oiled machine of billionaire investors who have had a vision for the future of this country, that when you talk to average, everyday people and you explain what the vision is, which is, you don't need to bother with that democracy. We'll take care of things for you. Kind of a benevolent dictator type authoritarian rule where we'll give you the illusion that your vote matters, but not so much. And, there are some who would argue we're almost there now. With someone like Frat Boy Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court, we got real problems. And, while I like focusing on, how bizarre this administration is and, how off the deep end Donald Trump is, when I look at the damage that is going to happen, when I look at undoing of all of the progress of the 20th century and returning us back to the good old days of the 1880s, where the robber barons ruled the roost and working people were desperate, living in company towns, shopping at company stores, going to see company doctors, and all of the other things that happened, and that we have forgotten. And I think this is the problem. We have forgotten the moral bankruptcy. We have forgotten the evil. We have forgotten just how horrible things had once been. And it's been bred kind of out of us. We don't learn about it in history class. They don't allow that to be taught in schools. It's not something we ever talk about. And what's concerning is when it hits, when this stuff actually becomes law and policy, I fear we don't know how to react. My hope is that as we build this resistance, as it grows stronger and stronger and more militant and more people in the streets and more people, involved in politics, running for office and voting, heaven forbid, more people voting, that maybe we have a shot. But, complacency and throwing up our hands going, oh, there's nothing we can do, or just mocking the stable genius, I'll be honest, is troubling to me. And the best he can come up with is Brexit. I tweeted it out. You got to watch the video. It's like must-see TV. You absolutely have to see the ramblings and the incoherency and the, just the. What I love about what I do love about Trump, though, is even though he is speaking nonsense, he's doing so in probably one of the best, most authoritarian ways. He knows Brexit's Brexit. I've got properties in Scotland. My mother was from Scotland. But he believes what he's saying, and it means something to him. Everybody else in the audience is going, what the is he talking about? Where did you get heartbreaking from a hard Brexit? Where did you get that? It's just, we've got a lot of work to do. And it's going to eventually, it comes back to us. It comes back to us talking to our neighbors and our friends and holding people accountable. And even reaching out, like I did last night, to a guy who, was a Bernie voter, voted for Trump because I'm not voting for that woman. And I saw him last night and I go, hey, so how's that working out? He goes, man, I'm sorry. And that's the response. And I didn't smack him. I said, I want to smack you. I want to smack you numerous times. But how do we move forward? How do we bring you into the fold? Come back to sanity. Come with us. And how do we bring those people back to somewhere this side of the same line? And it's not by beating them up. But he was very honest. He goes, man, I seriously screwed up. He goes, I was just so hateful of Hillary. And so angry about Bernie and all of that I wasn't rational. And that was a pretty good summary. And now if we can just come back to some bit of rational thought. And when we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Scott Dworkin's going to be here to share some of his ideas on how maybe we get back to that rational thought and how the resistance moves us forward, how we begin to, keep marching in the streets and come November, march to the polls. We'll take a quick break. Right back. Stick around. Right back.
Own 90% of the wealth, 10% of the people. Own 90% of the wealth. Where do you fit in? Take a look at yourself. 10% of the people. Own 90% of the wealth.
Where smart policy and sound investment matters. The Rick Smith Show.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1937. That was the day newspapers throughout the South announced the return of Ida Sledge to Tupelo, Mississippi. The ILGWU organizer had been leading unionization efforts at 3 area mills. Twice, she was driven out. Prominent businessmen invited her to leave town just days earlier, warning her not to return under the threat of violence. Earlier that spring, workers had held a sit-down strike at the Tupelo cotton mill. They demanded higher wages and shorter hours in the town's first labor action ever. The mill's stockholders responded by voting to liquidate. Sledge immediately filed charges with the NLRB against the mills for violating the Wagner Act. Now, newspapers reported a tense atmosphere in Tupelo with Sledge's return. She stated, quote, I don't mean to cause any trouble. I intend to organize the garment workers and don't propose to be scared away. The Citizens Committee soon declared victory, claiming they had organized 1,000 workers at 5 plants into independent home unions. Sledge condemned these as company unions. By the end of the month, Democratic Representative of Mississippi John Rankin thundered. These representatives of the so-called Labor Relations Board boasted they were going to close every factory in the city before they quit. And when they got through with it, there would be no Tupelo left. The following spring, local organizer Jimmy Cox was taken outside of town and flogged by 15 men. Sledge was again threatened and driven away permanently. The mill owners finally relented in August as the NLRB trial loomed. They disbanded their company unions, reinstated fired workers with back pay, and posted notices that they would not interfere with organizing efforts. But unfortunately, the ILGWU never gained much from their organizing efforts. Like what you hear? Check out more at laborhistoryin2.com.
waving the flag of freedom for people, not corporations. Rick Smith.
Welcome back to the Rick Smith Show. Check out the website, thericksmithshow.com. Questions, comments, something on your mind, you can email me, rick at thericksmithshow.com. Lots of stuff going on, from the Supreme Court to Brexit is Brexit. My mother's from Scotland. To the craziness that we're seeing across the globe with our, I don't even want to say president. I struggle getting to that point. But here to help us work through how we get to sanity, where we go, how we get through it, I've asked our good friend Scott Dworkin to come talk with us, co-founder of the Democratic Coalition and also host of the podcast, The Dworkin Report. Scott, thanks for taking time for us.
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm in this weird kind of mood. I watched this video of Trump rambling incoherently about Brexit being Brexit and his mother from Scotland, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around the thought process that went into that 2 or 3 minute little answer of nothing. And I don't know how I would have reacted if I were sitting next to the guy who asked the question.
It's Putin's talking points. I mean, that's all it is. You know, on top of the fact that he's going to be promoting his golf course in Scotland, wasting taxpayer dollars to travel there, the security, the advance, you know, and to play golf and to promote his golf course in Scotland, and that. Is on that more than anything else.